Is this, what is this emoji?
Okay,
Is
I'm gonna
this
start letting everyone in.
put on my fingers?
Gage and Ben, did you hear that?
Yes, letting people.
So I'm gonna just hit the button that says admit all, so prepare thyselves. Here we go.
Oh, wow. Okay, that one.
Hello, everybody that has joined so far. People are still coming. Should have done this before. Let's see. Where is that setting?
Hey,
Hello, everybody.
hey, hello.
What up? What up? What up?
What up?
Elevators, welcome.
I'm just
Welcome, welcome. I should have done this before. I'm trying to figure out how to automatically.
did we lose everybody?
Nope.
Did we lose everyone?
I didn't lose anybody. If you could, when you join, if you could just make sure to mute your mic so it doesn't get like crazy chaotic.
Oh, you guys are cutting out. You guys are kind of cutting out. There we go.
Awesome. If you could just make sure to mute your mic when you join. Thank you. All right, people are still joining, so we're gonna wait just a tiny little bit. All right. Cool. Okay. Cool. All righty. So we are going to go ahead and get started here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Monday thus far. Thank you all for taking the time to come speak with us about the program. We have lots of stuff to talk about, and I'm sure you all have lots of questions for us. So we will be sure to cover a lot of stuff. People are still joining. Okay, so first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and introduce our team to everybody. My name is Mitchell. I've been at the Y for about 4 years on and off as a seasonal. I've worked a couple different jobs here. I'm now an Elevate facilitator, of course. For those of you that I have interviewed, I did have a beard at one point, very big beard. It is gone now. I am the same person. Do not worry. Yeah. Abby, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yes, my name is Abby. I'm one of the facilitators here. I got here in July, moved from North Carolina. If you saw my video, you already know that. I facilitated the last semester, so I'm really excited about this semester as well.
Hi everyone, I'm Ryan. I just got here. I came from Minnesota, but I was here last year in staff activities. And I'm one of the GAP program adventure guides. So I'll be joining you and leading your outdoor programming and some of your trips too.
Gage and Ben, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hi, absolutely would, Mitchell. Thank you. What's going on, everyone? My name is Ben. I am your other adventure guide. I've been living in Colorado for like 6 years now, worked multiple seasonal jobs. And yeah, am excited about sharing my love for the environment with you all in such a beautiful landscape.
My name is Gage. I trust that you can hear me from my sitting position, so I will remain seated. I've been at the Y since this past April, but I've been in Colorado since 2 Aprils ago, actually. So I've been in the state for about 2 years. like Ben just mentioned, I also cannot wait to share my love of the outdoors for you, with you all. However, I am a facilitator, and so I will be, driving the bus on the days that we go to the volunteering, that kind of thing. Cool.
Hi everyone, I'm Cam. I'm also a facilitator like Gage, Mitchell, and Abby. I was formerly a participant, so I was in these meetings like you all 8 months ago, and now I'm gonna be facilitating your Elevate days and some of our trips.
Thank you all. Oh, hi, Anita. Sorry. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Anita, and I'm actually a volunteer here at the Y and in the HR department. And I support the Elevate Gap program and will be helping to conduct some of the workshops and various activities that you all will be doing throughout the semester. So really excited to have you all get here and can't wait to meet all of you.
Thank you, Anita. What a wonderful group of people we have working here, I must say. Okay, so getting right into it. I'm going to tell you all a little bit about the YMCA of the Rockies in Estes Park. I'm sure you have all done your research and looked into our facility and everything already, but just to give you a little bit of a more detailed background about who we are and what we do and all of that stuff. So we are a nonprofit organization in the heart of Rocky Mountain National Park. We are surrounded, our property is surrounded by the national park on 3 sides. So you can literally walk into the national park from the dorms that you'll be living in. Pretty awesome thing we got going on here. We've existed for quite a long time. We've been around since 1907, I believe we were created out here. And our main purpose in the world is to serve families that want to come experience the national park. That's our biggest thing. And we have a lot of programs that help us achieve that mission. We are a nonprofit, like I said, so basically all the money that we accumulate throughout the year just goes back into creating more opportunities for our beautiful location to be experienced. So that's kind of our main thing. You guys, of course, will be a very integral part of our operation here, in that you will be helping us serve our guests so that they can have a wonderful time. And of course, you will be having a wonderful time yourself living here. We're also very focused on developing our staff as, not only staff members, but human beings, of course, is a big part of our mission too, the development of people. Big thing we care about here. Yeah. Abby, would you like to speak about our program and how it kind of ties in?
Sure. So that's a little bit about the YMCA itself, but as far as our Elevate Gap program, if you interviewed with me, you probably heard all of this already, but it's a 4-month-long program for 18 to 23-year-olds, which are you guys, who are going to come and work in either food service or housekeeping. So that's serving the people here at the YMCA. You'll do that 4 days a week, and then your 5th work day is your program day. So that's when you'll be with a facilitator like one of us. And part of our program is just to help you guys grow as individuals, learn more about yourselves and your place in the world. So we'll be doing all sorts of things like volunteering, hiking, rock climbing, personal workshops on time management or team building, stuff along those lines. So that's kind of the general aspect of the program.
Awesome. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Mitchell. I'll now kind of just piggyback a little bit off of what Abby said and go more into the general program structure, while she was kind of touching on more of the YMCA structure. So as she said, it's 4 months long, and you are going to be working full time, which is 40 hours. But it's slightly different than your traditional 40-hour job. You're going to do 4 shifts in either housekeeping or food service, and those will be 8-hour shifts, 32 hours a week. And then your 5th day is an Elevate day, where, as Abby said, you could be volunteering, backpacking with Ben, traveling throughout the national park with Ryan, all sorts of things. And that day is still going to be paid, and that will comprise of your 5th day of the week, totaling in 40 hours. Then I'll go into a little bit about the gist of the why and what you can do here. It's 860 square acres, but I'd like to make mention and really hammer home the dining hall. The workers. We also have a craft shop where lots of money. This is why some things that makes them very affordable. The same thing applies for a mountain shop. They have a ton of free rentals the house. With Mitchell actually. Mountain shop. So the also stuff I think we get yeah, other than that, I think I'll hand it over to him.
Yeah.
Can I pause you guys for a second?
Yes.
Your mic is screwing up. We can barely hear what you're saying.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Do you want to try like just muting yourself and then unmuting yourself again? See if that.
Can you hear us better?
Not. Okay. Can everyone? Could you guys let me know in the chat? Can you hear them? Okay. Could you say something?
Yeah. All right.
They hear what I said, or should I re-say it?
Yeah. I don't think they could hear you. I couldn't hear you.
Okay,
Lagging bad. Having trouble hearing. Can't hear well.
Oh, goodness.
maybe you do yours again.
All right. Luckily, we're in the same office here.
Hello, everybody. I am back. I will briefly go over what I just did since you guys were not able to hear me. I do apologize for that. We are in the basement of a 117-year-old building. So these things happen from time to time. If I interviewed with any of you, I know sometimes we had to call on the phone because this kind of thing happens in old buildings, specifically in the basement. So I was just talking about the program structure, really piggybacking on what Abby said. You do 40 hours a week. 4 shifts are in either housekeeping or food service, 8 hours. And then you have your 5th day, which is the Elevate day, which like Abby said, you could be volunteering, backpacking, hiking, doing all sorts of cool things. And that is still actually paid. So you are going to be doing a paid 40-hour work week. Other than that, I was talking about just the general structure of the Y. It's 860 acres, and that sounds super big, and it really is. But everything that's going to be important to you is in a central location. We have our own post office. We have dining halls where you can go eat. We got a laundromat that's probably 3 minutes down the road from where your guys' dorm. We're surrounded, like Mitchell said, on 3 sides by Rocky Mountain National Park. I'm not sure the exact number, but probably hundreds of miles of trails on property. We'd always encourage you guys to bring a vehicle if possible. However, I do want to hammer home, if you don't have one, anything that you need to do, you can accomplish at the Y. We got a general store, food, like I said before, and even if you want to go recreate, you can go down to the mountain shop, and with your staff ID badge, you can get free rentals on things such as snowshoes, gaiters, which makes traversing the ice a little bit easier. We also have a craft shop where it does cost money, but however, with that staff discount, it's very affordable. I know Abby, our facilitator, really spends a lot of time over there and loves doing arts and crafts. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do at the Y, disc golf. I don't know the exact details because they release them at the first of every month. There is a shuttle if you don't have a vehicle that'll take you into Estes Park. You can do most things that you're going to need to do at the Y, but if for any reason you want to go to the town, there is a shuttle that will run you from the Y to Estes Park. Other than that, that's pretty much all I had to say for now, and so I will defer it to Cam. Thank you.
All right, now for the less fun information, but important information. All right, so we had a lot of questions about sick time. So with sick time, oh, are we muted?
No.
Sick. All right. No pun intended. With sick time, you will accumulate sick time the more hours you work. I don't know the exact number, but eventually you work enough, you get sick time, you use the sick time when you're sick, you get paid for it. Next, we're gonna talk a little bit about how to call out. This is very important because if you don't call out, you will get in trouble. So it's very important that you call out to your supervisors. We have a phone in Howlett's. You call your department, housekeeping or food service. You call them, you say, hey, I'm not feeling super good, can't come into work today. And they'll say, okay, I understand. Good.
What is Howlett's?
Howlett's. Oh, you guys don't know what Howlett's is? Howlett's is your dorm. It's pretty awesome. Super cool. Communal living space, bathrooms, bedrooms. It's awesome.
We're gonna have a whole
And a
meeting.
kitchen, in the kitchen. I've
Fridges.
fridges.
We're gonna have a whole meeting about housing though.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't need to
Yeah,
get
we're,
too deep.
we don't want to talk too much about it, but there's also a TV. So not to get y'all riled up or anything, but yeah, so there's a phone in Howlett's. You call them, let your supervisor know. If they don't pick up, send an email to them. That way they know they have some kind of record that you weren't feeling well and they know that what's going on. Next, mandatory Elevate meetings. So we will have a couple mandatory Elevate meetings. Usually this is if something's going on. They're unpaid, sadly, but they're important and you need to show up. We had one last semester because people weren't doing dishes. And you know what? A bunch of dishes that are dirty in the sink, not good. You can get bugs, gross dishes, dirty dishes. You don't want to live with that. So we had to talk about it. There's gonna be stuff like that. It's bound to happen throughout the course of the semester. So we wanted to let you know now. Also, now for the less fun part, there is a $250 admission fee to get into the GAP program. I'm sure a lot of you have already paid it. What this money goes towards is the trips. Even with that money paid, the $250, the trips are still, you're getting a much more expensive experience than you normally would be. It's probably like 500, 600 normally, what we do, but you're getting it for 200. You get to go rock climbing outside. You get to go to 3 national parks, get to go to Moab, get to explore all of Rocky Mountain. Not all of it, but a good portion of it. So it's a pretty awesome deal. And I think that's everything. And what, oh, the 250 admission. Yeah. Cool.
Hi, I'm just gonna briefly talk about an assessment that's gonna be coming out tomorrow, and this kind of builds on what Abby was saying about personal growth and development that's built into the program. And one of the cornerstones of what we use is a personality assessment tool. It's called Myers-Briggs MBTI. I'm sure some of you have heard of it or perhaps even taken it, but we are going to have everyone do the assessment. We'll be sending it out tomorrow and you will get an email, and the email will actually come from Myers-Briggs. You'll see in the email that is sent to you, you'll see my name, Anita Carlisle, but just look in your email for an email from Myers-Briggs, and then that'll have the link. It'll take you right into the assessment. You probably will need maybe 30, 45 minutes to complete it. We'll give you a week to get that done so that we can get it back and get everything in order before we do our workshops, which will be like the second week you're here. And we'll have all the different groups go through the workshops. And again, we kind of use that as a cornerstone for some of the other work that we do around personal growth and development. So look for the email. I will send out just an overall message on Slack tomorrow that says the email has gone out. Look for it in your personal email, and hopefully that'll give you just a heads up to start looking for it. If you have any issues, come back on Slack. We'll help you get it figured out. But anyway, so that's the first thing that you should expect, and it'll come tomorrow. And just really appreciate if, you know, just as quickly as you can, take those 30, 45 minutes and just in a quiet place, you know, complete the questionnaire, and then it'll just automatically get sent back in. So just wanted to give you kind of a heads up on that. And again, thank you for participating in that.
All right. Welcome, all you wonderful people. I have the task of talking about our
trips for the semester. So super, super excited. We've got 2 big trips kind of as part of the program, as part of the semester. Our first one will be our Moab trip. As you know, it is winter right now, so we will actually be doing Moab first. The trips will be starting at the very end of March, beginning of April. So your Moab trip will consist of a 4-day trip, 2 of them kind of which are kind of spent driving up there. Obviously, it's around 6 hours away. So we've got 4-day Moab trips that will kind of consist of 1 day outdoor rock climbing that will be guided from a third-party company. So that will not be me or Ryan leading it, but still we have the awesome and amazing opportunity to work with one of the great rock climbing guys out there. Let's see, what else will we do as part of that trip, you may ask? Well, we will also go to a bunch of amazing campgrounds. So a lot of you guys will have the opportunity to go to different campgrounds while we're in Moab. So we'll kind of go to one and then maybe pack up one night and go to another. So just be prepared for that. We're going to be doing a lot of kind of packing up our gear, moving to a new spot and setting it back up again. But it's great practice. It's awesome. It's just a good habit to get in terms of just being time friendly and things like that. Also, as part of the Moab trip, we also do get the awesome opportunity to go hiking and sightseeing within 2 national parks in Utah. So Arches National Park specifically, and then Canyonlands as well. Really, really excited about that. Should be really great. And we also do get the opportunity, like I said, just to explore different areas of Moab, to get to go to slightly different areas of Utah. It's an absolutely beautiful landscape, completely different than what we have here in Colorado. So it's a really unique opportunity, and honestly, really is one of my favorite places in the world. Should be a little bit warmer by then too, which is really exciting. You know, we'll get to break up our long winter that we tend to get here in Colorado. Just a heads up that you guys will not get paid for these trips. It is kind of part of the program. It's part of the experience. But however, with this being said, I do want you guys to keep in mind that with big trips like this, you know, if you were to do it individually or on your own time, there'd be a big financial portion would be involved. So, you know, you'd have to pay to get there gas wise, you have to pay for all these campgrounds and things like that. So it really is an awesome opportunity and by far one of the biggest hits and biggest team bonding moments as part of our program. So we are really, really excited about that. Moab's going to be awesome. Cannot wait. That will kind of be split up between me and Ryan and definitely one of your facilitators as well. So you will always have a guide and a facilitator on those. So that's kind of the Moab trip. Can't wait for that. Like I said, that'll be 4 days and 3 nights. As part of that, all the gear is provided. So there will be a packing list for that, and we will kind of recommend certain things to bring, such as layers and things like that. But kind of the basic necessities that you would need for camping, such as tents, stoves, anything like that in terms of cooking or anything like that, it will all be provided. This includes the meals. So we will be providing 3 meals a day on those trips, a bunch of snacks in between, of course. So yeah, all the gear will be provided. You guys don't need to worry about that. If you have any big concerns or anything like that, just reach out to us ahead of time and we can try and accommodate for that for you guys. The next big trip that we kind of have coming up is our backpacking trips. So this very much is kind of an introduction to backpacking. You know, we won't be hiking 27 miles over the period of 3 days. This will actually be a 2-day trip, 1 night. This will consist of hiking out to a backpacking location within Rocky Mountain National Park the first day. So we'll get there bright and early in the morning, set up camp. We'll have some activities during the day, whether that be, you know, team building activities, maybe a hike might be offered. However, keeping in mind that we did just, you know, hike out to get to our campsite. So with that being said, yeah, the same kind of situation there. All the gear will be provided. We have super big backpacks meant for backpacking. We have sleeping pads, tents, anything that you might need for that. Now, with that being said, never mind. I'm going to skip over that. So yeah, that's kind of our backpacking trip. Like I said, we'll be hiking to the location the first day, and then kind of the second, we'll have 3 meals. We'll be cooking a bunch. We'll be learning how to cook camp foods and like things like that. And then the next following day, we will kind of head back down to the mountain. No real time frame right now. You guys will get a full detailed schedule kind of as we get closer. But yeah, that's kind of the backpacking trip. So yeah.
Thank you, Ben. That was beautiful.
Thank you, Ben. That was indeed beautiful. I am looking forward to Moab as we speak. Palpable with excitement, I am. So this information I'm about to give you guys, I'm going to try to keep it pretty brief because I think this kind of thing, the more I talk, the less you're going to retain. Just basically how to get here. Our address is 2515 Tunnel, Tunnel Road, Estes Park, Colorado, 80511. The big distinction that I want to make here is the YMCA of the Rockies has two separate sister locations. We have ours in Estes Park, 2515 Tunnel Road, and then we have one in Granby, which is about 3 hours away in the wintertime. Come summertime, they open a highway and it's easier to get there, blah, blah, blah. But it's really far away. For all intents and purposes, whenever you go to your GPS, punch in 2515 Tunnel Road. We are in Estes Park. Please do not go to Granby. It seems like at least once a semester, somebody winds up on the other side of the mountain and it's a whole debacle. Please don't be that person. We are at 2515 Tunnel Road, Estes Park, Colorado. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to add to that also. So to follow up on what Gage was saying, when you do come to 2515 Tunnel Road, Estes Park, Colorado, 80511, on either the 25th or the 26th, you will be coming to the HR office. That is where you will be reporting initially, and we are open between the hours of 8:30 and 4. So when you do arrive, we'll talk more about the shuttles and stuff at the end. But when you do arrive, you'll be coming to the HR office located in the administration building between the hours of 8:30 and 4. 2515 Tunnel Road, Estes Park, Colorado. All right, take it away, Ben.
My goodness, I'm back. What's going on, everyone? All right, so now I'm going to talk about kind of our winter season and some of the things that we kind of recommend in terms of packing in terms of winter. So you guys will be getting here kind of end of February. Luckily by then that will kind of be past the brunt of winter that we get here in Estes Park, Colorado. Now I can definitely still guarantee you that we will have snow as well as wind. So wind is a pretty big thing here in Estes Park. In order to prepare for this, we recommend you guys having definitely some type of heavy coat. Could be anything, could be a winter ski jacket, could be a down jacket, anything like that. So anything that you guys use for cold temperatures, I'd recommend having something that you could feel comfortable in down until like the 10 degrees, I would say. Maybe even a little bit colder if you plan on skiing or anything like that. So definitely having a heavy coat, making sure you are prepared for the end half of winter here. And then of course, simple things. So one of my favorite things to have on campus, kind of just commuting to and from work around campus, is definitely having a buff. So a nice face mask, something to kind of keep your face shielded from the wind, can be super, super helpful. Anything that you would use for your winter season, if you guys are in Minnesota or East Coast like that. So obviously like scarves, gloves, boots. I would recommend boots. Maybe not necessarily as relevant to you guys since you guys won't be here for kind of the worst part of the winter. I would say your hiking boots should kind of be able to work perfectly fine if you didn't want to go ahead and purchase, a whole pair of winter boots just for a few months while you're here. So hiking boots should do absolutely fine. With that being said, definitely some type of hat for cold weather. I'm going to guide and nerd out on you a little bit, but we actually lose 40% of our body heat through our head. So making sure you have a beanie or something like that to keep you warm, super essential. And then totally not necessary, but as well as things like ice cleats. So anything like that, spikes. Some departments do give them out based on availability. Unfortunately, we have a lot of employees here at the YMCA at the Rockies. So it's just not feasible to kind of give them to every single person who needs it. However, yeah, could be a good thing to have. They're great for hiking on snowy trails, icy trails, and things like that, which we will be doing a lot of. Now, with that being said, we will probably have a set of those for the program for our big hiking days or things like that. However, if you are concerned, about slipping, there is a lot of just walking that we do on campus. So if you're ever concerned about that, that could be a great thing to have with you.
Other than that, keep in mind that it is the end half of the winter season, ski stuff and things like that. But with that being in mind, also remember that you could have up to 1 to 2 roommates as well. So really just trying to only pack the essentials and, maybe only having like 1 pair of everything winter wise or something like that. Really just thinking about it intentionally in the sense that you will have to share a space with other people. Yeah. Sweet. Thank you, Ben. Alrighty. Thank you all for being flexible with us with our camera and microphone situation. I don't know if anyone's getting like car sick from the camera flipping back and forth, but thank you all for being flexible with us. So last thing we're going to talk about before we get into answering questions is transportation. So as all of you who are in the Slack should have done already, we sent out a transportation survey asking you all when and how you're planning to arrive. Most of you are driving, so we can talk about that first. So we do have parking lots outside of the dorms. That is a question that I received. We do have designated parking lots outside of the dorms. Beyond that, there's no like formal process of registering your car, getting a pass or anything like that. So that is not anything you guys need to worry about if you are driving. However, I will say, like Ben was just talking about, we are kind of towards the end of winter here, but it still is very snowy and it can get icy for sure. So if you're doubting the ability of your tires to kind of handle that sort of terrain, snowy, icy conditions, then I would certainly look into either upgrading your tires or, getting chains, things like that, just to prepare for, especially if you're coming from a place that does not have as harsh of a winter as we do up here. Definitely be prepared for that. Yeah. So chains are definitely something to look into, or just getting kind of like, the tread on your tires checked will be very helpful. For those of you who are not driving, we are offering 2 shuttles from the Denver International Airport. One on February 25th at 5 p.m., so evening, and then on February 26th at 1 p.m., so in the afternoon. And we've shared this information in the Slack a number of times, so it is in there also if you want to look at that. Those are both free shuttles that we are personally running for you guys. If neither of those times work for you, then there is the alternative of the Estes Park shuttle, which is a paid shuttle, but it runs back and forth from Estes Park and the Denver International Airport at a lot more times throughout the day. So that is definitely something to look into if neither of our shuttle times work and you're flying. So all of this information is in the Slack, like I said, but I can certainly provide you all with those links if you need those again. Yeah, that is about all. Just final reminder to fill out that survey if you have not. I'll be sending a link after our meeting is done here to fill that out, just so we know that you are going to be here to check in and everything, and we know when we should be expecting you and all of that.
I got one more thing.
Okay, Ben
All right.
has something to say here.
I got one more clarifying thing. I kind of made it seem like we're at the end half of winter. I do want you guys to be aware that you can expect snow up until May for sure. So we will oftentimes have snow on the trails and things like that. Just wanted to clarify that because I made it seem like winter might have died out. That's not quite the case. Colorado, it can kind of extend, especially in Estes Park. We're here at high elevations. We can certainly get snow super, super late. So yeah, just wanted to clarify that for you guys.
Cool. Thank you, Ben. That was quite important detail. Okay, so now that we have bombarded you all with an incredible amount of information, we are going to answer some of your questions. So I'm going to start with the questions that we got in the Slack earlier today. And then we can open the floor for any of you that have thought of things while we are meeting. So we did cover some of these, but I'll just run through them briefly. So first one from Kai asks, do we need to bring work clothes? Will uniforms be provided? So I will answer this briefly only because next Monday we'll be meeting with your department managers. So they will have much more information than I do about your jobs. I only am aware of so much, but to speak on the uniforms briefly, it kind of depends on which department you're assigned. That is something that we are working on currently. We have most of you assigned to either housekeeping or food service, but we're still kind of in the process of assigning everybody. For housekeeping, all that you need are closed-toed shoes and, you know, clothes that you're comfortable working in. There are uniforms are provided. You'll get a housekeeping shirt, and in food service you'll get your food service shirt and a hat, I believe, right? If you would like a hat, they have hats too. For food service, if you are assigned to food service, you will need to bring black pants and black shoes. Non-slip black shoes. If you are assigned to food service, we will try to get that information to you guys as soon as we are able. It is kind of a process, but we are working through that right now. And like I said, your department managers will have much more to say about this on our meeting next week. You can speak to them directly about all of that sort of stuff. Kevin Byer asks, are we able to switch after we are assigned departments? So I will say in most cases, no, that is not permitted. There are kind of, depending on the situation, you may be able to, but it's kind of just up to the discretion of your supervisors. Yeah, so again, that's kind of something that you may need to discuss directly with your managers should it become an issue for you, generally speaking. So next question here. Is there gear that we can use for skiing, backpacking, or other activities? So the Y does have some gear available to borrow. We do have, let's see here. Snowshoes, micro spikes, ice skates. You can use hiking boots, trekking poles. I believe that is everything that the Y provides. That used to be a thing, but not anymore. Yeah, so we can provide for you ice skates, trekking poles, snowshoes, and micro spikes. And boots. Those things you can borrow from the YMCA. We have those available for staff to borrow. As far as skiing gear goes, we do not have skiing gear available, but there is lots of outdoor recreation in the area here. So there are plenty of places that you can rent that stuff for very reasonable prices. I would personally recommend in town the Mountain Shop. You can get a full ski setup for $45. You can rent it for a day. So very reasonable. And they have all sorts of stuff. Also, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I can speak on backpacking.
Okay, sure.
In terms of backpacking stuff, unfortunately, so like I mentioned earlier, we do have things for your trips. We do have the gear for the trips, but unfortunately, we will not really be able to kind of check them out in any way. You know, we're going to have 70 to 80 participants, which means 7 to 8 groups. So we will most likely have some type of backpacking trip or Utah trip kind of going out quite frequently. So unfortunately, in terms of like checking out backpacking stuff and things like that, you know, there might be something that we could kind of get you if you needed help with it, and you let us know ahead of time. But unfortunately, yeah, we are more so going to have to keep those for the trips that are going to be running and going out. So.
Thank you, Ben. Always very knowledgeable about anything related to the outdoors. He's a wonderful resource to ask questions about. Edward Hale asks a question in the chat. Do we have access to ski hills through the YMCA? I heard a rumor that we have free access to 20 resorts. Is that true? That is true. The YMCA, our staff activities department, has purchased a bunch of ski passes for staff to rent out, and they are the Colorado Gold Pass. So you can look online to see all the resorts that you can have access to with that pass. It is a lot. I'm not sure of the exact number, but it is a lot of places. So yes, that is true. You can rent those, and it is very cool. Zoom user asks a question. If you request a roommate, are you guaranteed to get them as one? Generally speaking, roommate requests are honored. Yes. So if you have put in a roommate request in Paycom and your onboarding paperwork, then that will I mean, I don't see any reason why that wouldn't be honored. Very rare that we do not honor those requests. So yes.
Okay, another question we got was, what positions will we be working and how are they determined? So as far as food service or housekeeping, we have taken into account if you have any experience in those areas. So we've gone through resumes and just based off of like information you may have given in the interviews. If you have food service experience, you'll most likely be placed in the food service department, and same with housekeeping. If you have no experience or you have both, then those are usually just kind of randomly assigned depending on how many people are already in food service or housekeeping. And the next question is, how will shifts be determined? Do we have a say? So I believe that means for housekeeping, all of the shifts are the same. It's 8:30 to 4:30 or 8 to 4:30, I believe. And then food service has an AM shift and a PM shift. I believe those are kind of just randomly assigned, but the managers are pretty good about taking into account if you are a morning person or if you prefer to go in the afternoon. They definitely will work with you and do whatever is best for you.
I can speak on that a little bit more too.
Okay, and then Cameron can speak a little bit more. He was in food service, so he can
Alright.
probably share.
Also, for those of you in food service, if you do want mornings, typically the kitchen, they will have more cooks in the morning because they're cooking lunch, breakfast and lunch. So if you do want mornings and are really insistent on it, I would try and get a kitchen position during orientation. But that's only if you want mornings and want to get up early and have the rest of your day free.
Thank you, Cameron.
Yeah, there are, I will say also in housekeeping, there really are only two different positions that you can have. There's either just, rolling around in the vans, going around the property, cleaning cabins and lodges, and then there's laundry. So it's a little bit more simplified in housekeeping, but in food service, there are a number of different positions. You can work in the kitchen, you can work front of house in the dining room, you could do dish, you could do rustic, which is our cafe. Yeah, you can bake. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff that you can do there. So Audrey asks here, in food service, will we only be working one shift the entire program? Again, that is kind of dependent on your wants during the program. If you start out in morning shift and then you kind of, have something come up, you have to go to appointments in the morning or something like that, then you can certainly feel free to speak to your managers about changing shifts. But for the most part, it's pretty consistent. Of course, they are very understanding and are willing to work with you about changing your schedule. But for the most part, it's pretty consistent. Yeah. Alrighty, so more Slack questions. Is 40 hours guaranteed? I was asked. As a matter of fact, 40 hours is required. It is a full-time job and there is plenty of work to be done. So yes, you will certainly have 40 hours of work guaranteed. Going off of that also, Edward asked about time off. So how does it work? Paid time off, unpaid. I believe that was covered a little bit earlier. Is that correct? Who was talking about that? Okay. Right. So you do accumulate sick time as he discussed, and vacation hours based on the amount of hours that you work. So it accumulates based on how much time you work here. Yeah. So I can't give you an exact number because it's different for everybody, pretty much. Yes, and then how to call in. You will have your manager's extensions, so their phone extensions that you can call from Hallett's, like Cam was talking about, and their emails also you will have access to. So pretty simple process. Just call in, tell them what's going on. Let's see here. We're getting some questions in the chat. Do we have weekends off? So you will all be assigned to different teams. So you all have your team that you'll be with for the whole semester, and you will all have, every team has a different weekly schedule. So some of you may have Monday, Tuesday off. Some of you may have Thursday, Friday off. It is not necessarily going to be Saturday and Sunday for all of you, but it will be consistent for the whole semester. So if you do have Monday and Tuesday off, you will have Monday and Tuesday off for the whole semester. So no need to worry there. So it's not necessarily the weekend, but it is a weekend and it will be consistent for you. Josh asks, during the overview video on YouTube, do you have archery and horseback riding? We do. The YMCA does offer archery indoor and outdoor, depending on the weather, and we do horseback riding in the warmer months. It's not going on right this minute, but by the time you are done with Elevate, you will have had an opportunity to do horseback riding if you so desire. They do offer that in the summer. Getting quite a few questions here. Are we allowed overtime? Depending on your department's needs, yes. Overtime is offered sometimes, but it is not guaranteed necessarily. There is plenty of work to be done here, like I said, so occasionally it is offered, but it is not guaranteed. Allowed, yes, but not always available based on the needs. What times are the AM, PM shifts in food service? I'm gonna hold off on answering any more work-related questions because, like I said, next week's meeting will be with your department managers. So that will be a wonderful opportunity to get much more detailed answers on all of that. So I'm gonna hold off on any more work questions. We've already covered quite a bit, but they will have much more in-depth answers for you that I do not have currently. If we need chains put on our tires, when is a good time to get them? Chains on tires, pretty much a necessity. So chains are, well, I'll explain what they are first of all. They're not like a permanent fixture on your tires. You just keep them in your trunk in case you need them. So it's really just when the snow is pretty deep or you're in some pretty rough conditions. If you're ever caught on the highway, which has happened to me a couple of times, then you just pull over and put your chains on. I would not describe them as necessary, but they certainly are a good idea if you're going to be, if you're planning to travel a lot. If you're planning to drive a lot, certainly they're a good idea, but not necessarily a requirement. You know, you would be pretty good if you're not planning to like drive all over the state during the winter months to just have like, you know, decent tread. Ben is back. Hello, Ben.
You can actually rent chains from the mountain shop in town. So if you did not want to go ahead and, you know, they can be pretty expensive. So yeah, they are available to rent at the Estes Park Mountain Shop. I'm not aware of the price off the top of my head, but I can't imagine it would be anything crazy at all, and would probably be a better option, like I mentioned, if you didn't want to go ahead and fully buy chains for yourself.
Also, to add to that, like Mitchell said, they are a good idea for everybody. But especially if you do not have four-wheel drive, I would get them. If you're driving here and you're gonna have your car without four-wheel drive, I would make sure you have chains.
We have a question for you, Gage, in the chat here. Would you like to answer that one?
Is there anything we should be prepared for with the wildlife around the park? Yes, and if I leave anything out, I trust Ben has my back. The biggest thing I want to emphasize here is just keep a safe space between you and the wildlife. The rule of thumb, I think, is actually pretty liberal with like how close they let you get to the wildlife. It's like 25 feet for you know, ungulates, which are elk and mule deer. Moose are also ungulates, but I would not recommend you get 25 feet to a moose because they're pretty aggressive. Especially the time of year you guys are going to be coming here. Later on in the season, they will be birthing their calves, and mother mooses, referred to as cows, are extremely aggressive. And then in the fall, the bulls, the male mooses, are aggressive. We don't got to worry about them so much right now, but later on in the spring, whenever new life comes around in the park, you certainly want to give, families and mothers in their newborn wildlife their space. Bear spray is not necessary. However, it's definitely not a bad idea to have on you. Some of the predators we have around here are mountain lions. Fortunately for us, there are tons of mule deer around here, so the mountain lions are very well fed. There hasn't been a fatal attack in our area for quite some time. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but it's certainly an uncommon event for a mountain lion to ever have a negative experience with the human, let alone even see one. The black bears are going to be hibernated whenever you guys first get here. They should wake up around May. There's only 20 black bears in the national park, so they are even more rare to see than a mountain lion. Maybe not, I don't know. But certainly all the predators are very rare to see. There are now wolves in Colorado. However, they are about 3 hours away, and there's some very staggering mountains between us and them. So I wouldn't worry about them. If wild animals do scare you at all, I'd recommend getting bear spray. It's like $50 at any outdoor store. And it'll last you, about a year before it expires. So it'll be good for the entire season, but it's not necessary. Just be safe. Don't get close to animals. I've seen news staff show up who aren't from areas with a lot of animals and literally try to go hug a deer. And then, best case scenario, the deer runs away from you. Worst case scenario, the deer gets aggressive. Don't be that person. But you really don't have anything to worry about. The wildlife around us are wonderful. Just give them the respect.
Don't feed them.
Do not feed them.
Oh yeah, do not feed the wildlife. That is actually very illegal. One more thing, we do have, this is kind of like a big draw for people to come to Estes Park. Actually, we do have elk and deer just like walking around everywhere. Usually when the weather is a bit warmer, they do just like hang out on the Y property. So it is definitely something that you will see. Like they just walk around and, sometimes I've definitely woken up a couple mornings with an elk, like literally outside my window, like making, elk noises, which are kind of terrifying if you're not ready for it. So yeah, definitely got to be a little bit, they're mostly not aggressive and everything, but don't approach them like they're your friends. They are still wild animals. Did you want to answer one of these in here?
Yeah, is there a weight room or gym in the Y or in town? We do not have a weight room or gym here at the Y, but in town we do. You have some options on gyms in town. There's also, the Mountain Shop has a rock climbing wall that we have passes to. And then, there's a rec center there in town that you can go to as well. So there are options in Estes Park, but not here at the YMCA.
Kayla asked a question about her cat. Kayla, if you would like to speak to us directly about your cat stuff, that's probably a better way to do that. Like specific questions about, that sort of thing. You probably just message me on Slack if you wanted to about that sort of thing. Sydney asks, how will you decide roommates? I do not believe we have a formula for deciding roommates. We try to give everyone kind of like opposing schedules. So we try to not have like two housekeepers in the same room, for example, because you guys are going to work together and be around each other a lot. So we try to arrange it in a way that gives everyone enough personal space and personal time. That's about all that we do there. Otherwise it is, we're not looking at like anything else other than that really. Or of course, special requests, like the gentleman asked earlier about roommate requests. If you have a roommate request, we will, assign accordingly.
And adding to that and answering Audrey's question, we try not to have you guys rooming with somebody from your team either. So we try to keep it that you're not working in the same department with them and you're not in the same team as them, just so you're not around that same person all the time, because that would create some conflict, I'm sure. So we try to give you guys space by doing different departments and different teams and stuff like that. But again, if you did have a special request, then that might not totally align there.
Sweet. All right. Couple more questions here in the chat. Ben asks, are there family/friend discounts for lodging if people visit you? Yes, every seasonal employee at the Y is entitled to discount nights that you can use. So they are $25 a night in our lodges, not the cabins, only the lodge rooms, which are still very nice, of course. So you have one discounted night in a lodge room per month of your contract. So all of you that will be joining us for Elevate will have 4 discount nights that you can use whenever you would like throughout the semester. And your name will be on the reservation, but you can give the room to whoever you'd like, your friend, your parents, if they come to visit you. So absolutely. Edward asks, is there access to a place to practice music? Does the YMCA have a drum set? I am not 100% confident that we have a drum set that you will have access to. I know that our chapel does have some instruments available, but they're not necessarily open to being used by seasonal staff. We do have a number of pianos around the campus that I do play sometimes. Just keeping in mind that they're not like 100% accessible all the time. They are like in the chapels, so you can't just go whenever you want to practice and things like that. As far as the drum set, not totally sure. That may be something you would want to ask our chaplain about when you get here, because I know they do have live performances in the chapel sometimes. So good question. Perhaps something to ask about. Does anyone want to talk about our cell service? Is anyone passionate about that?
I can talk about that.
Okay, sure.
Well,
Question right there.
oh, yes. This is a very good question.
Oh.
That would have been devastating. All right. As a former and current Verizon user, when I first came to the YMCA of the Rockies, I did struggle with cell service. And by struggle, I mean it was non-existent. However, it's completely fixed now. All cell carriers get good service as far as I'm aware. Maybe if you have like Cricket, you might not get like good cell service, but in general, I would say if you have like a main provider, like one of the big ones, like Verizon, AT&T, all them, you'll be good.
So you're still on Verizon, you don't have any.
Then I get a lot of bars. I don't know how many, but a lot. Maybe
Okay.
5G.
Cool. Ooh. Yeah, that certainly has been a problem in the past. But I guess Verizon put in a tower. They were like the only cell provider that didn't have one, but they have one now. So there you go. Wi-Fi does work pretty well everywhere on campus. We do have Wi-Fi everywhere that you can connect to, and it works most of the time. Most of the time, we have our problems. We get a lot of weather, a lot of external interferences with things like that. But I would say 95% of the time, it's working pretty well, based on my experience. Will we have access to the pool and the roller rink? Absolutely. The pool does have like a capacity.
60 people.
60 people is the capacity. So if it's full, you can't get in. But if it's not full, absolutely free to use for staff. Roller rink, same thing. Don't think there's a capacity in the roller rink, but I certainly like to get down on the roller rink disco floor. So certainly something you're able to do, and something that I enjoy personally. Okay. I think we're through all the questions. Oh, I have one more on my sheet here. Somebody asked, do we need to bring hiking backpacks? So for the backpacking trips, like Ben said, no, we will provide all the gear for you. If you are going to be hiking on your own, absolutely bring your own gear, your own day pack, if you will be out in the world on your own. Yes.
general store sells them pretty cheap too.
Yeah.
And we do have we have a general store on campus where you can buy a basic day pack,
Get it discounted.
at a discount also with your staff discount, yes. So any time you're like on a personal trip out somewhere, you'll need your own stuff besides all the stuff that we already told you. So backpacks, you should bring your own day pack or purchase one here if you like. Josh asks, church is a must on Sunday mornings. Can't leave campus for church. Josh, you are able to leave campus whenever you would like. There are no, if you're not at work, then you are free to do whatever you would like in your free time. And if that is something that you would like to do, certainly speak with your manager about having Sunday mornings off. Absolutely. Will there be vegetarian options for our trips? Ben, would you like to speak on food briefly? Welcome back.
Love to. I would love to. Yes, there will. Long story short, we will, before the trip, kind of give you guys a full itemized list of not only the plans in terms of what we're doing, but also our meal. So you will be getting a meal plan as well. This will be including quite literally everything. So what we will be making for, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as well as kind of the snacks we will be providing. It's a little bit into the weeds, but there will be pre-meeting trips. And if you're aware of it right now, Audrey, I would recommend you maybe not necessarily sending us a message about it right now. But once we get closer to your trip, absolutely, we can make accommodations to make that work. This includes not only vegetarian, but like gluten-free, celiac, anything like that. We absolutely want to make sure you guys are eating, especially on our overnight trips, where we'll probably be doing a bunch of hiking and things like that. So yes, there will be vegetarian options on the trip. I can't guarantee that we will be able to, if you wanted something specific, I don't know if we can accommodate, we do have a budget and things like that, but by all means, yes, if you're a vegetarian, we are not going to force you to eat meat by any means, nor will there only be meat available to eat. So.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ben. All righty. If that is all for now, then we can call it a day until next week, where we will be speaking with your department managers. So the food service and housekeeping managers will be on the call, and we will also be covering some very important human resources information next week. So if no one has anything else to say, then we will call it a day. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I hope that we covered a lot of the questions you guys were wondering about, and we will be covering more HR specific stuff next week. Yeah. Very excited to meet you all, and I hope you are all excited just as I am.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good Monday. Blessed Monday. Fantastic. Absolutely incredible. I want to